Good morning, everybody. I'm Stephen Lusty. I'm chair of York Civic Trust, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to the unveiling of this plaque to Pitt Corder. So, welcome Lord Mayor, Lady Mayoress, Sheriff. Welcome to York University staff. There are too many of you for me to enumerate or to go through individually just here, but I will say a thank you at the end. And we're really pleased to be hosting this event outside Hedley House, unveiling a blue plaque to remember and to acknowledge the work of a York citizen who did a lot in in his world of work, which was in education and in social justice. So Pitt Corder joins a distinguished band of recipients of blue plaques, which you can see throughout the city and particularly around this area. The criteria for being awarded a blue plaque are many, and very stringent criteria they are too. And in the last few months, your senior staff at York St John have been convincing us of Pitt Corder's worthiness for this blue plaque, and we're totally convinced. Pitt fulfilled all those criteria, and we feel very good that yet another York citizen who's made a big contribution in the world is acknowledged in this way. I have to say, as a modern languages graduate of the 1960s, I could have wished that his teaching methodology in education had been more familiar to my professor of German at the time. He was excellent at Old High German, but not quite so hot on language teaching. To introduce the event from the side of York St John, I'd like to introduce Dr. Rachel Wichaksono, who will take us a step further. Rachel.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you. I'm delighted to see here such a varied group of people from our academic community, from the city of York, and representatives of the Quaker roots that were very important, obviously, to Pitt's early education and to what we think of today as applied linguistics, our academic discipline. So I'm just going to say one or two words about how the project came about, and then I'll hand over to my colleagues who are here to talk more about applied linguistics. So Stephen mentioned senior staff at York St John, and we're delighted to have our Vice-Chancellor and Pro-Vice-Chancellor here today. Thank you very much for coming. But it wasn't senior staff, actually, who did all of this work. It was students. And so I'm especially happy to have students here, current students on our Masters in TESOL, Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages, and also some of our alumni, distinguished alumni, now also academics in applied linguistics in their own right, and students who worked on the project. So you did an amazing job. It was an emergency idea that happened as a result of a need to prepare some classes for a module called Themes in Applied Linguistics that I was teaching back in 2018-19. We'd just run a big conference at York St John, the annual BAAL, British Association of Applied Linguistics Conference. So I'd had a very busy summer and was going straight into a semester to teach this MA TESOL module, Themes in Applied Linguistics. So I can remember very clearly walking into the class and saying, we've just realised that Pitt Corder, who was the first chair of BAAL, was born around the corner from us. What does that mean? Are you interested in that? Would you like to explore that? And the wonderful students at York St John were, I can remember very clearly, super excited about this idea. And from that, they contacted senior academics in applied linguistics, Pitt Corder's family, Bootham School, Merton College, where Pitt Corder was an undergraduate, Edinburgh University, where Pitt Corder was the first chair in applied linguistics, and got a wonderful response. So thank you to all colleagues here who supplied those students with information about Pittcorder's life. We were so happy when your emails were read out in class with the information that we needed to make the application to York Civic Trust for this blue plaque a successful application. So it was students at York St John who did a wonderful job, and I'm very grateful to them. So to hear a little bit more about what applied linguistics is and our association, the British Association of Applied Linguistics, I'm now going to hand over to the current chair. Pittcorder was our founding chair, and our current chair is going to join us, Professor Zhu Hua, who's come up from UCL, the former chair of BAAL, Dr. Dawn Knight, who's joined us from Cardiff University, who worked with our York St John students on this project, and also Professor Ros Mitchell of Southampton University, who was a student of Pittcorder's, and so is here to help us think about his legacy in the city of York, more broadly, but also in applied linguistics. So Zhu Hua, Dawn, and Ros, if you'd like to come up. Thank you very much.
Hi, good morning. It's really nice to join you. On behalf of BAAL, I would like to say thank you. It's so nice to be here. I'm very delighted to celebrate the unveiling of the blue plaque of Professor Pittcorder on the very place where he was born and spent his formative years. So the blue plaque, as far as I know, is the first one for applied linguist. And so what is applied linguist? When I meet somebody for the first time and introduce myself as an applied linguist, the questions they often ask is, so how many languages do you speak? Or what languages do you teach? So these questions are not necessarily wrong, because our colleagues, many of our applied linguists are talented multilingual speakers who speak many languages and passionate about language learning and teaching. But our concerns as applied linguists are much broader than language teaching and learning. We have endeavored to understand language-related issues in everyday life and in all walks of life. So we have investigated systematically and critically the multilingual intercultural workplace, migration, new learning environment, new media, and all kinds of professional contexts, such as health, forensics, translation, legal settings, and business, and also public discourse of all kinds, including policy, language policy, planning, and ideology. And we have much to thank Pittcorder for. As a founding chair of the British Association for Applied Linguistics, Pittcorder played an instrumental role in the development of applied linguistics as an interdisciplinary field in the UK. The association not only created a critical mass of scholars, researchers, and practitioners interested in language communication, but also gained respect from a much wider community on whom our work has impacted and with whom our work has connections. His vision has come to fruition 50 years on. We are now an international community of more than 1,400 members working in diverse contexts, united in our conviction of the importance of language in life and in society. And we have evidence of our impact of our work on policy and practice. Pittcorder's contribution was not confined to the British research landscape. He was elected and served as president of ILA, which is the International Association of Applied Linguistics, for 2 terms between 1969 and 1975, and contribute significantly to the development of applied linguistics worldwide. As eminent scholar, his work on error analysis of second language learners opened up new areas of inquiries in second language acquisition. His reconceptualizations of learners' errors as good errors, as the effect of a cognitive process, rather than failures to conform, has huge implications on teaching practices. For many of us who have had experience of teaching or learning a language, this learner-centered or friendly approach to errors has huge implications, was a major breakthrough. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of BAAL to say thank you to York Civic Trust and York St. John's team for working together to commemorate Pete Coulter's long-term legacy and to mark his connection with the city through this plaque. We're most grateful for Dr. Rachel Wilkinson and her team for making this happen in the first place. As Rachel mentioned, this is a fascinating story of accidental discovery and destiny. So this came out of a master project as part of the MA TESOL and Applied Linguistics in St. John's, York University. Soon after, following the successful York St. John hosted BAAL annual conference, which features Pete Coulter lecture. The annual lecture, we name after him. And that's not all. The very conference was hosted in 2018, 100 years after he was born. So this is a fascinating story of discovery and destiny. Through this plaque, Pete Coulter's life as a pioneering applied linguist, a professor and Quaker who inspired generations of English language teachers and researchers comes to full circle. The profession of applied linguistics in the world will forever remember Pete Coulter. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it's a great pleasure to be here. Like Stephen, I wish my language teachers had been schooled in this way, because I would have learnt so much more from my mistakes. And I think the principle of errors are learning opportunities is one that we can take into all sorts of areas of life. Can I just ask, are there any students present this morning who've been involved in the project? I understand that that's the case. Please put your hands up. Can we publicly thank the students who've been involved in this project? Thank you so much. I often find myself saying that the city owes so much to its Quakers and its Quaker history. And I've been aware, of course, of the contribution in so many areas of life. The contribution in healthcare, and we think of, for example, the Retreat Hospital. Or the contribution in education. We think, of course, of schools, including Bootham School. Contributions in terms of industry and commerce, and we think of our chocolate industry. I have been unaware of the contribution, the valuable and important contribution in the area of applied linguistics. But I'm pleased that that is being recognized in the city today through this blue plaque. And I congratulate all those who've been involved in bringing us to this occasion. Thank you.
So it's my honour, on behalf of BAAL, so the British Association for Applied Linguistics, to declare this blue plaque unveiled.
Thank you. That was very painless, wasn't it? I was just thinking, it is a challenge for the Civic Trust, and that is to find out how many of our blue plaque recipients were actually linguists at all. I was struggling to think of some, and one's just occurred to me. It was Miles Coverdale who translated the Bible back in the 1500s. But apart from that, I can't think of anybody else. But one thing's for sure, Pitcorder's plaque here on Hedley House is in good company. Round the corner are the Roundtree's blue plaques. So from a social justice point of view, he's also in a very, very good position here. Just finally, can I add my thanks to the Lord Mayor's thanks to the students. Thank you very much, students, for having done all the hard work. Thanks to York St John senior staff this time, to Dr. Rachel Wichexano, Professor Helen Saunson, Vice-Chancellor Professor Karen Bryan, and to the St John alumni who researched and wrote the life of Pitcorder, Hannah Bungard, Doria Rule, and Grace Jagger. And thank you to the British Association of Applied Linguistics for helping to finance this whole project. Thanks to the Civic Party for coming today. Thank you, Lord Mayor, Lady Mayoress, Sheriff. Thank you to the Civic Trust Historians Group for their tireless work on researching histories and on checking the data that they receive. And thank you. Well, the fact that the railways are also adding their congratulations very, very timely. And thanks to members of the public for attending today. Finally, a reminder to any members of the British Association of Applied Linguistics and the former students involved in the Pitcorder plaque proposals, you're now invited to make your way to the York St John Creative Centre on campus for the book luncheon event starting at midday. Thank you.